Welcome to Chamber Exchange, the TV show. My name's Tim Murray, President and CEO of the Worcester Regional Chamber of Commerce. And Chamber Exchange, a TV show, is an opportunity for us to bring on Chamber member businesses and guests who are working on economic development jobs here in Central Massachusetts. The show happens because of our sponsors, St. Vincent Hospital and Bank hometown. Welcome Brian Herr, who is the Vice President and General Manager of Business Development of Solect Energy. Brian, good to see you again.
Great to see you, Tim. Thanks for having us on.
Yeah, well, we were talking before the show started. I heard you recently on our Chamber Radio segment with Hank Stoltz in the morning at 8:30 a.m. talking a little bit about Solect Energy, and maybe you could share with our viewers a little history of the company and what it does.
Yeah, we're celebrating our 15th year this year. We're very excited about that. The solar industry ebbs and flows, and it's you have to be flexible to kind of ride out some of those peaks and valleys. But it's a great organization. We do great work on behalf of the communities that we serve. We employ about 125 people. We have licensed electricians, apprentices, electrical engineers, mechanical engineers like myself. We have civil engineers that we work with. So all kinds of great jobs within our company and within the industry as well.
Yeah, and I think it's whether somebody's in the neighborhood where they live or in business districts, it's one of these things. It's kind of a gradual, right? You can see the manifestation of solar and the uses in residential and commercial ways, and kind of that's what you do.
Yeah, absolutely. The industry has evolved, the technology's evolved, the applications that we put the technology to use has evolved. It works really, really well. It's a great financial model, and it does a lot of great things for our climate in terms of carbon footprints, things like that.
Yeah, and so you mentioned these ebbs and flows, right? And sometimes issues like this can be turned into political footballs, but I think the reality of it's coming.
Yeah. It's here.
It's here.
Yeah.
And it's really an opportunity, and really any homeowner, property owner, business owner, it would be in their own interest to kind of take some time and do their due diligence by working with a company like you to kind of learn.
Yeah, absolutely.
And what is that process?
So the process is pretty straightforward, and everybody should check it out. It may not play out for everyone, whether it be a homeowner or a business entity. We focus primarily on the commercial side of the world, but everybody should check it out. The process is pretty straightforward. You look at an electric bill, you understand your electric consumption, what you're paying for that electricity. Then you look at the roof, or you look at the space that you have available to perhaps put solar onto it, and you take a look at a preliminary design. You figure out how much production you could get. Does that production look pretty good against what you're paying for electricity right now? Can we offset that? Does it make sense financially? Does it make sense aesthetically? We want to make sure we do good solar that doesn't offend neighbors, abutters, folks like that. And once you have a sort of preliminary conversation, you can find out pretty quickly whether it would make sense to further investigate it. Then you get into the technical aspects of it and dealing with the utility, making sure that the utility's okay with it, making sure that the state programs align with it, et cetera.
Yeah, and you mentioned production. I mean, that is kind of dictated a little bit by where the building is located.
Right.
The sun, you guys gauge all of that, do that kind of work to kind of make an estimate of this production or these solar panels will generate so much energy.
Correct.
Which then can be used to offset energy costs.
Right, exactly. We'll bring it in behind the meter, so you're getting power from the utility. That won't go away. You'll always have your power from the utility as a backup, but we'll bring that solar in right before that meter into your house or into the business operation, and then your meter will stop spinning literally, and you won't be paying as much to the utility. You'll get your power from that solar array. On a cloudy day in the wintertime, you're still getting more power from the utility probably than the solar array, but most days that solar array is producing.
Right, and we know in Massachusetts energy costs are a real challenge, not just for homeowners but for businesses, and then many businesses are power reliant, right, to make goods, products, et cetera.
Yeah, I was in a business last night. It happens to be a local brew pub, and I was having a nice conversation with the owner, and he was frustrated with his electric bill.
Yeah.
I said, "You have a perfect roof for solar. You really should consider it." He goes, "I thought about it a few years ago, but I haven't thought about it since." I said, "It makes sense." And now with this new program that Massachusetts is instituting, Smart 3.0, which starts basically now, it's a great program to incentivize folks to go ahead and really get into solar.
So hopefully at that brewery, you not only had a nice conversation, but you had a nice beer.
I had a nice cold beer, yes. I had two.
That's good. So
and then I left.
Why don't you talk about the Smart 3.0? So in an effort both at the federal and state level to try to incentivize, encourage, maybe close the gap, if you will. There's some programs out there to help companies and,
Exactly.
and residential in some cases as
Yeah,
well.
yeah. There's a federal tax credit that's been in place for many, many years. That's currently being reviewed in that whole tax bill that's being discussed in Washington, D.C. right now. Some call it the big beautiful bill. I do not, but that's a separate matter. But then here in Massachusetts has been very strong in supporting solar over the years, and we've gone through several different iterations of different programs. The newest program that just came out June 20th, a week ago last Friday, it's called Smart 3.0. And Smart is a program that provides, based on production, how much electricity the solar array produces. There's incentives that the state will send to the array owner to offset some of the cost to install the solar array.
Right.
So it works really well for businesses that have some pretty strong electric use inside their facilities, and it works really well for municipalities too. And we do a lot of work for both businesses and municipalities. We do a lot of work on schools, middle schools, high schools, elementary schools. And municipalities don't spend a penny, not one penny, to get solar put on those roofs, but then they buy the power at a discounted rate because of Smart 3.0 and the federal tax credit. When you put all that sort of blended into the pro forma, the financial pro forma, the electric rates will come way down for the people that would consume that power. So municipalities really benefit quite well from using solar on those big roofs.
Yeah, in a previous life, we started and created some of those incentives around solar, and really, and I think you just explained it really well, Brian, is that, when businesses and residences as well are using that solar power opportunity, there's less demand.
Correct.
That's then put on the generators.
Correct.
And the generators come from a variety of sources,
Correct.
some not great for the environment. So there's a cumulative effect that's good for the environment and saves money.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, that's why I love it. I love what I do. I love what I do for a living because it's good business. It's challenging business. We employ a lot of good people in the trades, and we make a difference by not creating as much, in terms of, climate concerns with fossil fuel burning.
Yeah. So to go back to a point, if you're a business owner or a commercial property owner, you've got a building, and if you have not already, it really is in their interest to engage with Select Energy, to begin a conversation. Where can they learn more, and how can they contact you?
They can certainly go to solect.com, solect.com. And look around the website there. There's all kinds of information there. They can reach out to me, Herr, B as in Brian, Herr, Herr, at solect.com. I'd be happy to chat with anybody about it. We'll tell you if it's not a good fit for your particular location. But with Smart 3.0 now going live, there's going to be very few folks, very few businesses that won't benefit if they take a look at solar.
Right, and your team comes out and kind of does that analysis.
We take care of
before
everything.
anyone has to sign on the dotted line or write write their name on
It's
any obligation.
very simple. There's no obligation up front. For those municipalities, they never spend a penny. For businesses, they can, or we can do other things with them in terms of leasing and so forth. The industry. There's thousands and thousands of people employed in the industry in Massachusetts that you folks started way back when, Governor Patrick and yourself and others. And around the country, there's probably 300,000, 400,000 people in a renewable energy space. So a great industry and a great opportunity for folks to check it out.
Well, green collar jobs. Brian Herr, thanks. It's great to hear about the growth of Select and the work you're doing. And if you're, again, a business owner out there, property owner, commercial property owner, call Select and let them show you how you can save money. Going to come right back for our next segment in just a moment.
These days, you've got your hands full in life. That's why we help you bank simply and securely with tools like Face ID and Touch ID. It's why we make it easy to make purchases on the go and get cash back while you're at it. Why we help you quickly deposit checks wherever you are. And it's why we lend a hand with sending and receiving money right from your phone. So even when you're on the move, you can manage your finances. Bank Hometown. Unlock your potential.
Worcester, a city with heart, history, and promise. A hub of innovation in life sciences, education, and healthcare. Home to multi-generational families, first-generation citizens, and next-generation baseball and hockey greats. Home to great parks, world-class museums, theaters, and restaurants. Worcester, the place to visit, to invest, and to call home.
Hi, my name is Tim Murray, President and CEO of the Worcester Regional Chamber of Commerce and former Lieutenant Governor of Massachusetts. You know, one of the great stories in public education today has been the success of our vocational technical high schools and Chapter 74 programs. Why? Those programs at our high schools not only have our students graduating with a high school diploma, but an industry-recognized credential that prepares them for the world of work. We need more vocational technical high school for all of our students. Unfortunately, Governor Healy has put a short-sighted proposal forward that would create a lottery system, unproven, that would determine how students get into our voc tech programs. And unfortunately, that also pits students against students in our urban, suburban, and rural communities. So we're asking you to help us take action. Say no to Governor Healy's short-sighted proposal and say yes to universal access to vocational technical high schools and Chapter 74 programs. Please go to mavoctechcoalition.org to learn how you can help us by calling your state rep, your state senator, emailing them, and letting them know that we need to have universal access for our Chapter 74 vocational technical programs for all of our kids, no matter where they are in the state.